You are now tuned into a brand new episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K Sap. Well, today, man, there's an ongoing feud by reports that there's a disconnect between Kevin Stefanski and the coaching staff in the Cleveland Browns organization over Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. But we're going to talk about it all here right after this. Well, guys, man, the tension is mounting between the coaching staff in Cleveland. Kevin Stefanski and the coaches are all not on the same page when it comes to this Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel's quarterback situation. Now, there's reports out there that people are saying that nobody is in the locker room talking about they want to see Shedeur Sanders play. You know, Mary Kay Cabot reported that she's not hearing nothing. Nobody talking about they want to bench Dillon Gabriel and go with Shedeur Sanders. She said she don't hear none of that. But then there's other reports out there that certain people have receipts and certain people have information from players saying that's not true. The players are talking about they're getting tired of Dillon Gabriel marching out there each week and doing the same things that he's doing and not getting the job done. Now, we heard Myles Garrett's frustration talking about losing the same way every week. Now, we reported G. Bush, credible source, said that he's getting phone calls from certain players, and they're not special team players. They're players that make impacts on the team that they want to see Shedeur Sanders get in the game. Now reports are out there that Kevin Stefanski and the coaching staff are at odds over this whole situation between Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Now, we all know everybody has weighed in on this whole story since Shedeur Sanders was drafted to the Cleveland Browns on how the Cleveland Browns are treating Shedeur Sanders. And that goes by saying what Kevin Stefanski is doing as a head coach. Now, Kevin Stefanski was addressed earlier this year about the narrative of him sabotaging Shedeur Sanders. And he kind of backpedaled and really didn't address the situation he had on. He hopscotched over it. So that makes it seem like there is some kind of validity to what Kevin Stefanski is trying to do with Shedeur Sanders. And also, Kevin Stefanski hasn't put Dillon Gabriel in the best position to win either. So it's making Dillon Gabriel look bad each week that he goes out there because Dillon Gabriel is not progressing. Now, a lot of coaches in the locker room have voiced their displeasure, and they're at odds because they want to see Shedeur Sanders get a chance to run this offense. But Kevin Stefanski, that's him and Dillon Gabriel, that's his guy. So he's sticking with Dillon Gabriel at all costs. Now, there was a lot of reports leading up to this game against the Baltimore Ravens that it might have been a chance that Shedeur Sanders would have entered the lineup. But Kevin Stefanski put that to bed right after the Jets loss, and he stated that Dillon Gabriel is our quarterback moving forward. Now, we've all known that the Cleveland Legends have weighed in on this, and basically, it's a lot of people out there saying, hey, it's time to move on from Dillon Gabriel and give Shedeur Sanders a shot to see what this kid is capable of doing. A lot of people know what Shedeur Sanders is capable of doing. But we're going to take a look at what Cleveland's legend, Hanford Dixon, had to say, and then we're going to listen to what they had to say about the feud that's going on in the Cleveland Browns locker room when it comes to these coaches feuding over Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. But before we do that, we partnered up with Underdog Fantasy, and this is a word from our sponsor.
Underdog Fantasy is the best way to play fantasy sports. Let me tell you about the easiest way to get in on some WNBA and NBA action. Find your player, pick higher or lower, win you some extra cash. Pick between 2 to 5 players to fill out your pick'em entry, get every pick right, and win some serious cash. Use my promo code SBD23 and receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Now that it's football time, follow Simply Ball Dropping as I share my picks. Like I said, pick your player, choose your amount, win money. Make picks, win cash. Thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for the partnership with us, and thank you for using promo code SBD23 on Underdog Fantasy.
Now, guys, with that being said, let's look at what Hanford Dixon posted yesterday about wanting to see Shedeur Sanders get a chance to see what this kid has. Let's take a look. Hanford Dixon said, "We have to see what we have in this kid. I honestly believe in him." That's Browns legend Hanford Dixon urges the Browns to play Shedeur Sanders, and that was via the Hanford Dixon show. Now let's take a listen to what the guys was talking about yesterday evening on the reports out the feud between the coaches in the locker room in this organization of the Cleveland Browns. Take a listen.
So this was what he reported. So he said there's a growing disconnect in Berea on the best approach at quarterback. Some coaches want to see Shedeur get meaningful reps and start, while some think Dillon is still the best option right now. One source in Berea told me there's no chance flat out that Dillon is the long-term answer. And then he said this week that they are absolutely discussing right now that there's discussion in the building whether the Browns should start Shedeur Sanders this week. Kevin Stefanski is still focused on developing Dillon Gabriel, but some in the organization believe Shedeur might give them a better chance to win in a spark right now.
All right, Jeremy, we got a boogie buddy, but we will.
Now you hear what the caller had to say. Now, just like G. Bush said, sources are like opinions. Everybody has one. But the thing about it is, what is valid and what is not valid. So when you got reports in the air like this, you can't question them because it's out there. There's reports out there all over. This ain't the first person that said this about the growing disconnect in the locker room between Kevin Stefanski and some of the coaching staffs, surrounding around this whole Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel quarterback situation. Also, the reports out there about a lot of people, are frustrated with the way this offense looks. A lot of people are saying, Jerry Jeudy's demeanor. He's only doing the right thing, and he's only doing what Kevin Stefanski wants him to do as a leader, is to protect this quarterback. And that's what Jerry Jeudy's doing. Also, the reports that Mary Kay Cabot said about nobody checking for Shedeur. And then the reports that our man G. Bush from the barbershop said, and he did an excellent show early this morning on sources and everything. And he actually was cooking this morning, and he fried them up like fried turkey. And the thing about it is, he said some excellent points. Just because he's not in the mainstream media, you're going to discredit what he's saying, but you're going to validate what Mary Kay Cabot, Tony Grossi, Jason Lloyd, and guys like that say? Where are they getting their credentials from? Just because G. Bush is not on mainstream platform and he has his own platform, you can't discredit what he says, because like he said, guys, they want to speak to G. Bush because it's part of the culture. He relates to what's going on. So you can't downplay the things that he said about his phone blowing up and people telling him inside the Cleveland Browns organization, players saying that they want Shedeur Sanders in there, and it's time for Dillon Gabriel to be benched, and it's time for Shedeur Sanders to step up and get an opportunity. So G. Bush was cooking today. Salute to G. Bush. for everything that he's doing over there at the barbershop. Also, like I said, we got all the receipts. The receipts is out there, just like G. Bush said. And I say, the receipts is out there. And we keep receipts. I see everybody in the comment section, #salute. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball Dropping drops another hot banger. Oh yeah, just in case I forgot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping podcast. I'm the host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.